What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. In this video, I got another very important AMC update to bring all of you this evening. So what we're going to be covering in this update is a little bit of the technical analysis on some of the longer time frames, because we are seeing AMC in a very, very interesting spot. As usual, in the last few times that this has happened, we've seen some pretty aggressive moves to the upside. Now, in addition to this, we are going to be covering the short interest data, the cost to borrow, and everything like that we're going to be seeing on Ortex. The results of kind of what we saw as well with what happened with AMC's options chain this week. But the most important thing that we're going to be discussing in this video is the vast amount of shares that has been failing to deliver on AMC recently. We have really never seen this high amount of shares failing to deliver in a consecutive day period. And I want to explain to you guys exactly what this means and just how significant this is to our current situation. So before we get into all of that information, if you enjoyed the information and analysis that I provide for you in this video, make sure you go down and hit that like button. It costs you nothing to do it, but it really helps us out a whole lot in getting this information out to as many people who want to learn. And if you want to see more videos like this, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on that notification bell so you're notified every time I post a new video. So AMC closed the day on Friday at $15.37, up 31 cents on the day, or 2.06%. Now, when we come over and take a look at the 4-hour time frame for AMC, we're seeing something really interesting start to occur. So we have this 1348 cross right here on the 4-hour. That's the first step right there. We see closing candles above the 200. That's the second step. The next is consolidation and movement upward from this 200 exponential moving average, as you can see right here in yellow. Now, yesterday's video, or 2 days ago's video, we were talking about the fact that AMC was coming down below this 13 EMA, and if we were to have seen any more sell-offs, we could have ended up seeing a kind of coming down to this level of support right here, this one right here, or even the 48 EMA or the 200 EMA, but we ended up holding at this first level right here before we ended up bouncing back to the upside. Now, the last few times that we have seen consolidation similar to this, kind of hovering along this 13 EMA, we typically see a pretty significant bounce to the upside. Now, what we're really looking for here is this bounce to carry us over that 1610 and 1660 level right here. If we can do that, we would have a lot of upside. Now, when we look at this on the daily chart right here, that upside is then going to be right here again. We see we need to break this 1615 level here, and we could potentially have upside all the way up into the $20 range. So there's kind of a silver lining here, or a light at the end of the tunnel. Now, there's a lot of different pieces of economic data that are going to be coming out over the next couple of weeks. We are in earnings season. We are going to be getting the Fed rate decision towards the end of the month. And the day after the Fed rate decision comes out, we are going to be getting the preliminary GDP report. So a lot of crazy things happening in the second half of July. Now, again, kind of talking about this 1348 strategy right here. If you do want to kind of join us over there, get access to all of the private live streams. There's over 55 of them every single month. The whole trading curriculum, there's about 13 videos right now we are constantly adding. In addition, we have all of the alerts, all of the trading algorithms. If you guys do want access to that, make sure you check out that link down below. And I do want to shout out a couple of our members here. First, Dawn with over a $2,000 win on Friday. Coming down a little bit further too, you guys can see it's flooded with gains over here. We also have this one right here, about $552. Awesome job, guys. And then Diamond Dog, as usual, with a really, really solid Apple trade. So if you guys do want to join us, make sure you check out that link down below. Now, Ortex data right here on AMC. The live estimated short interest data, 17.9% estimated. We have 15.16% on the max cost to borrow right here, and 10.8% on the average, with 8.93% on the minimum. So the minimum cost to borrow is stepping up a little bit on AMC. Now, in addition to this, we also have about 130 million shares on loan. So that's how the short interest data is looking like for AMC right now. And again, when we look at the Ortex data, it's just going to give us that bare baseline minimum of what's potentially out there in the actual market. So I just use this, again, as that bare baseline minimum because of all of the kind of shenanigans that we've seen in the past, talking about basically the misreporting of all of these short interest numbers. Now, I do want to take a brief look at the options chain for AMC right now, mainly kind of talking about what's going on with the in-the-money and out-of-the-money calls and puts. At the end of the week, we finished at 67,000 call contracts in the money. Let me just give this a quick refresh. Yeah, so 67, almost 68,000 call contracts in the money right here, with 65,000 or almost 66,000 put contracts in the money. That's pretty even. In terms of market maker hedging, most likely we're not going to be seeing any effects of the options chain on AMC going into next week. Now, is it possible that we still get a nice little move to the upside? Yes, absolutely. But is it going to be a result of the options chain? Most likely not. Now, let's get into the situation with the FTDs on AMC. So before we even get into that, I want to make sure you guys fully understand why these failures to deliver, the FTDs, are so important. So a failure to deliver refers to a situation where one party in a trading contract, whether it's shares, futures, options, or forward contracts, doesn't deliver on their obligations. Such failures occur when a buyer, the party with a long position, doesn't have enough money to take delivery and pay for the transaction at settlement. A failure can also occur, this is the important part here, when the seller, the party with a short position, does not own all or any of the underlying assets required at settlement, so they cannot make a delivery. Now, coming down a little bit further, failures to deliver are critical when discussing naked short selling. When naked short selling occurs, an individual agrees to sell a stock that neither they nor their associated broker possesses, and the individual has no way to substantiate their access to such shares. The average individual is incapable of doing this kind of trade. However, an individual working as a proprietary trader for a trading firm and risking their own capital may be able. Though it would be considered illegal to do so, some such individuals or institutions may believe the company they short will go out of business, and thus, in a naked short sale, they may be able to make a profit with no accountability. Now, looking at the failure to deliver data on AMC coming out at the second half of June, we are seeing some pretty crazy numbers. So, the one thing that you guys have to understand when we're reading the FTD data is that it is a running total of fails. So when we see these numbers right here, you cannot just go add all of these numbers up and get the total amount of shares failing to deliver. You can get the actual number of shares in total that failed to deliver, but that's not the amount of shares that are failing to deliver at that given time. So for example, right here, when we have 2.806 million FTDs out here, well, they ended up closing out a lot of those failed positions and bringing it down to about 1.9 million shares on the 29th of June all the way into the 30th. But that's not the day that I'm very interested in right here. These 2 days, the 27th into the 28th, are very, very interesting. We have 2.8 million FTDs, which is over a million share increase from the previous day. But going into the 28th, it was almost a 7 million share fail day. That is absolutely insane. When we take a look at some of these differences in the past and we kind of go through some of these, there is not a day over the last year or a 2-day period or a 3-day period when we have seen the amount of failures to deliver skyrocket to this level. Now, the other thing that is critically important in talking about how many shares failed to deliver on that day, to kind of put this into perspective for you guys. So there's about 7 million shares that actually failed to deliver. When we come over and take a look at the volume of AMC on that day, the 28th, I believe it was, when we come back to about here, the volume was about 39 million. When you take that 7 million shares and divide it by about 39 million, you get almost 18% of the total volume that was traded that day that failed to deliver. Now, when you look at FTDs and the skyrocketing of FTDs, remember, it's an indication that there could be a lot of funny business going on with the stock, hence naked shorting. So, if we are in this play right here, which a lot of us still are, and we are still holding our positions, hoping and looking at the technicals and everything else going on with the fundamentals of the company, trying to see, well, when could we see a pretty significant spike to the upside? Kind of in summary here, we are seeing AMC at a really interesting technical spot. We are headed into earnings, and the amount that these institutions are trying to push the share price down is at all-time highs. So that is going to wrap up this update on AMC. If you enjoyed the information and analysis that I provided for you in this video, make sure you go down and hit that like button. It costs you nothing to do it, but it really helps us out a whole lot in getting this information out to as many people who want to learn. And if you guys want to see more videos like this, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on that notification bell so you're notified every time I post a new video. So I hope you guys are having a great weekend, and I will see you guys in the next video.